Now, I can count the number of rock and metal ballads that I love on the fingers of no hands. And so, with my favourite metal band, Judas Priest, releasing Crown of Horns, the third single from their new album, Invincible Shield, how exactly do I feel about that? And what is my honest review of the song? Now, I got into rock and metal in 1986, a banner year for metal. Even so, back then, rock and metal ballads were absolutely rife. Even though I ended up getting into thrash and death and grindcore via a whole load of kind of softer rock bands, I never liked the ballads that these bands were peddling. I was a fan of Europe and Whitesnake and Bon Jovi during that time, and in most cases still am. I still like all that old stuff. But did I ever love Carrie by Europe? No, I would skip over that. Well, I would wind my cassette forward in the case of the Final Countdown album, from Rock the Night to Danger on the Track. And in the case of Whitesnake's Is This Love? No interest in that. Bon Jovi's Never Say Goodbye wasn't too bad, though, I must admit. It did kind of pull on the heartstrings a little bit, but it still wasn't anything like my priority, because I was getting into steadily heavier stuff. I think it's arguable that the power ballad, or any kind of straight-up rock and metal ballads, were contributory factors to the demise of traditional metal, or at least the temporary demise of traditional metal as we went into the 90s and alt-rock went on the rise. Did anyone really love those ballads? I mean, they must have done, I guess. I mean, Extreme's More Than Words, probably the most execrable example of a rock ballad, was huge, wasn't it, at that time? It was all over MTV, and God, how tedious. Generally speaking, I don't like slow songs. Not even doom metal most of the time, unless it's got a faster bit like At the Gallows End by Candlemass. Before I get into how I feel about the new Priest single, Crown of Horns, I'd like you to think about any kind of rock or metal ballads that you actually love or enjoy, and tell me down in comments. Traditionally, Judas Priest have never overdone any kind of ballads. I mean, obviously they have some kind of straight-up ballads like The Last Rose of Summer, but they also have incredibly dark and doomy and depressing ballads like Beyond the Realms of Death, which is very much a power ballad because it has full-on metal sections, and I find that kind of ballad much more palatable. I mean, is In My Darkest Hour by Megadeth a ballad, really? It's a super power ballad, maybe. And as I say, Priest have never really overdone it. On their comeback record, Angel of Retribution, the song Angel was a straight-up ballad, but a really good one. It seems like Priest really pick their moments when they have something really special to share. They don't just throw a ballad onto each album and put it in the number 3 track spot, which is traditional for so many metal bands. They actually only present us with something when they have something really worth it. And usually these ballads very much are riffy power ballads. Apart from Angel, in the last 30 years, I'm trying to think what else they've done that would fit the ballad tag. On the Painkiller album, the ballad would be A Touch of Evil. But, you know, that's really not a ballad, is it? Even though I kind of think of it in that kind of way. Do you know what I mean? The thing with Crown of Horns is that it's very much debatable whether it really is a ballad. In relative terms, compared to the rest of the album, it may well be seen in that kind of light. Yes, I have heard the whole album. I'm not going to say anything about it right now because I can't, because of an embargo. I will talk about it though, so subscribe. You'll notice that I'm keeping my face very neutral when I discuss the album. See, I should really be a poker player. One of my problems with the traditional metal ballad is that they're so slow, and Crown of Horns is not slow. It's got a real swing to its step. I wouldn't say it's mid-tempo, but it's not slow either. It's not slow and drawn out and dull and all these balladic things that ballads generally are. And the key thing is that this is Rob Halford here. This is him writing a song and singing a song, and it's a beautiful song. I don't know how long he's had this one up his sleeve for, but it really is great, to the point where I can't really think of it as a ballad. It's just a really kind of melodic and sentimental rock song. I think that's the best way to describe it. And I would happily listen to Rob Halford sing about the time he got stuck in a supermarket queue for half an hour. Full disclosure, I've got no idea whether that actually ever happened to him, but it probably did, statistically, at some point. Right from the start, with the melodic guitars, you can tell that this is something special. And once again, Priest have really waited until they have something special to play for us in the soft and melodic department, or the softer and melodic department. There is actually quite a big guitar riff in the middle of Crown of Horns. But first and foremost, this song feels like a real love letter to the fans. It's kind of Rob saying thank you for everything. And, you know, as much as I really hate to think that Invincible Shield could be the band's final album, I guess it makes sense for the band to kind of approach it as if it could be. I mean, actually, it's probably a good idea for every band to make an album as if it could be their last one. You know, that's probably a sensible and motivating way to go about it. There is one slightly odd thing about the song. I mean, the title, Crown of Horns, because it's obviously a play on the phrase Crown of Thorns, Crown of Horns kind of almost comes across as a kind of comedic title. I mean, I laughed when I first saw it. I actually wasn't sure if it was a typo or not. And obviously Priest don't do comedy songs, and so it's a bit odd to have this kind of title presented in the chorus in this kind of such a heartfelt and kind of sentimental fashion. But, you know, Priest are the band who kind of delivered the song Heavy Metal on their Ram It Down album with a straight face, so that, you know, they're no strangers to kind of, I suppose, I don't know, I can't say the word cheese. If I said cheese, then that would do Crown of Horns a disservice. I'm not sure if it does have the perfect title, this song. I think that's what I'm getting at. I'm not sure if the title quite fits the beauty and the sentiment of the song. But anyway, the point is, if Crown of Horns is a metal ballad, then I'm fine with that. And let's put it this way, when I play the new album, Invincible Shield, I'm not skipping Crown of Horns. No way, no how. Let me know down in comments what you think of Crown of Horns, if you've heard it yet, and once again, tell me what your favourite rock and metal ballad happens to be. I love a chat me. Right here on the screen you can click or tap through to my playlist of all my Judas Priest videos, so go ahead and do that right now. And please do remain possessed by metal.